Hello. I hope you have joined me over there. And thank you for joining me. I'm thrilled to be able to be here today to share some things with you on the 1st of June 2018 here in South Africa. So if you've joined me from any other part in the world, welcome. I'm glad we can have tea together. So I'm going to pour myself this tea that I've been looking forward to while I've been waiting for the countdown for us to be live here. So there's my tea. I hope you've got yourself a cup of tea. And today I would like to talk to you, first of all, there's some Q&As coming in. There's just a couple at the moment. But before I go there to answer the questions, I shouldn't say Q&A, I should say some Qs, because it's just questions, and I hope that I can be helpful with some answers to those questions. But before I go there, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some developments that have happened here at Oikos. We are excited that we are constantly growing and things are moving forward and onward and upward. And a little while ago, I did a video about change, because things change. Things change, they're always changing, but that's a good sign, because when things are changing, it means things are developing and growing, we hope. Sometimes they change in a way we don't like, but mostly change is for the good. And in fact, even when it's not for the good, when we don't feel like change is a positive thing that's happening, I think the way we handle it can actually help it to be a good thing, because even when change is perhaps a crisis that we'd rather not have, and so it's changing everything, it's changing our day, and it's changing our upsetting our lives, it's adding a difficulty. So now what do we do with that? That's what I wanted to talk to you about, because I just feel that if we can view it differently, view change differently, because I've been hearing about people that have got real struggles because of change coming in their life, and we're not excluded from that. I mean, change happens in our own lives. And as I said just now, I think it's important that we just talk a little bit about how we view that change and how we walk through it. The reason why I think it's important is for many reasons, not just that it's going to help us to continue to walk in strength, but actually it'll help those around us as well, if we can be the example we need to be for them. And this just keeps coming to me, because I met somebody this morning, and I was so amazed by this person, because he had had quite a flustered, stressful morning, and which had brought on a immediate headache. And he said that the way he deals with those situations is he just breathes deeply and he laughs. He found something to laugh about, because he finds that joy and laughter really helps his headaches. So I thought, that is actually a principle in the Word, because the Word says to us, laughter is good medicine. So there's the truth of it. So I was just thinking, if we could really take that literally, and we could find things to laugh about and have joy about when we are in the midst of trials. Now, so I wonder if that's okay, if we don't take it seriously. It looks like we're taking this like serious situation so lightly and lightheartedly. And so I wonder if that's okay that we do that. So then I went to the Word and I looked at some scriptures relating to that. And I'm sure you're familiar with the one in James chapter 1 where it says, consider it pure joy when you face trials. And I think, wow, actually that's an instruction that we must consider it pure joy if we are facing trials. Not when things are going well, we must just have joy. It says when we're facing trials. So I thought I wanted to start today with talking to you about that, because it might seem impossible, might not feel like it's doable. This is a calamity that's happened in our day, or we've got a lot of pressures, a lot of stress. Thinking again about the man this morning who was dealing with traffic. And so it delayed him in getting to where he needed to get, so he could take all of those experiences and just be very stressed. And in fact, he was stressed because a headache came on, a severe headache. And so the thing is that if we now in that situation just tried this simple obedience of just doing what God's word says, and says, consider it pure joy. How do we do that? Well, the way I know is just do it. Okay, he said, consider pure joy. So I'm going to consider this joy, this calamity or this crisis. I'm just going to consider it joy. And I'm just going to be joyful about it because that's what he said. Find something to laugh about, rejoice, have fun. It seems like it goes against the grain a little bit because of the fact that it's feeling like you're not being responsible or serious about the seriousness of the matter. But I just decided I'm going to do this, what God tells us to do, and see what transpires from that, because he's asked us to be obedient. And he must have told us to consider trials a pure joy for a reason. So let's do it. And then you begin to walk in that, and then you know what happens. You start getting the blessing of that. And you find that you've got the perseverance you didn't have. And you find you've got the endurance you thought you wouldn't have to be able to get through this. And then I read on in Scripture, and it says, once we've done this, consider pure joy to face when you face all kinds of trials. These will then develop perseverance and endurance and self-control and patience. And we're thinking, wow, first we must be obedient and consider it joy when we're facing trials. And then these other things just start to happen. And now we've got the perseverance we need. So back to that man that I met this morning, saying that when he just has laughter and joy and breathes deeply and everything else, it improves his headache and it makes things better. So he also emphasized just relax, and if things are just getting really stressful and tense, it's time to rest and relax and be calm. So I just thought that I would start today with our tea and just encouraging you in that, because I don't know what kind of week you've had. You might have had a very stressful week. You might have had a stressful day. The last hour might have been stressful. And what to do with that, and how to deal with that, and how to get through that. So even if whether you're watching this now live and I'm having tea with you, or after the fact, and I can share with you to have joy when you are facing trials, because all I'm doing is saying what actually God has told us to do. So I'm just sharing that with you and saying to you, let's not just bypass that and go, well, I don't know how I'm supposed to have joy in this situation. This is just too much for me. But then if we just step back and go, well, God said I must, so that's what I'm going to do, and then see what happens. I know what it's done for me in my circumstances and situation. I just have to start singing because I found that just brings joy, and it brings strength, and it helps me to not feel overwhelmed by an overwhelming circumstance or situation. So I hope that's going to be supportive and helpful to you. And I also want to today do a couple little practical things. One being have some tea, a sip of some nice hot tea. The other practical thing I wanted to do for you today was, in this past couple of weeks, I've been hearing quite a bit about the concern about the cost of living. And, well, I'm speaking from South Africa now, and we've had things happening, such as petrol prices. I think in the States they call it fuel prices going up. And just hold on a second before I carry on like that. I'm just telling you, Jamie over there, that I can't see anything here. So I don't know if you need to come and help me with this, or if you can send me another link and I'll just open it up, because this is just strange. So to go back to what I was saying, there's been quite a few increases here in South Africa, and so there's quite a lot of concern on the effects of these increases. Our VAT here in South Africa has increased, which is just 1%, and it's not only just 1%, because it has an effect all the way down the line, that 1%. And the fuel price has gone up twice in 2 months, and that affects everything, food prices because of transport, delivery, and so on. And I was thinking, so what do we do about this? Because we've got to continue in our life. We've got to continue to consider it pure joy when we're facing trials. One of our trials might be a pure economic trial or a budget trial. And then I went and visited our daughter, our married daughter, and she and her husband were telling me that they'd been talking about how they had discussed how people are complaining about everything. And then they found as well that they were aware that when we're talking about people complaining, then we are complaining about the people that are complaining. So, wait a minute, this is catching us like a trap now. Everything is becoming a trial, and now we're caught in the trap of complaining, and God cautions us against that. So let's let's do something about this other than what is obvious, and everybody's getting caught up in complaining or stress or trial or anxiety. And the word says we're not to worry about tomorrow, because has God not already taken care of that for us? He says he has. Let's trust him. But then I thought, what can I do further than just discussing the trial of these increases in the economic situation? And I shared with one of the ladies there at Oikos and the Oikos team that we make our own washing powder, because she happened to mention how she had noticed the price of washing powder, for clothes, laundry, clothing, washing, and your washing machine. And I told her we make our own, and she said, well, how do you do that? And so I shared the recipe with her, and I'm going to share it with you now. And then I went and spoke to Greg, my husband, and I asked him, what are we paying for? Because he now gets it in bulk, these ingredients, and he's found a place to get them, and he found that place by going on Uncle Google and searching where he can get these particular ingredients, and he found a place to get them, and now we get it in bulk, and now we make our clothes washing powder. It's actually liquid, it's not powder, it's a soap, liquid soap. And now our clothes are being washed with this, and it's not harming our washing machine in any way. Our clothes are coming out lovely and clean. And we are saving a huge amount, I've since discovered, because I heard about the price of washing powder. Now, you see, I never even used to go down the aisle for washing powder, because I don't have to, because we've been making our own washing powder for years. So let me tell you what our washing powder recipe is. It's a cup of borax. You might, in old literature books, read about the times that they used borax. You might think it's not available anymore. Well, it is. You have to find it. I can't tell you where to find it, because each person in different regions is going to have to source it for themselves. So we use a cup of borax, a cup of washing soda. Again, you might say, well, what is washing soda? Is that bicarbonate of soda? What kind of soda? But it's actually not bicarbonate of soda, it's washing soda. It's called washing soda. And again, you can find it from a supplier. You can get it from a source we get the borax from the same place as we get the washing soda. And then we use a bar. In South Africa, we get these long bars of green sunlight soap. You can use that, or you can use organic soap. Now, I met a mom on one of our road trips that actually makes her own soap. And so she gave me quite a few big chunks of organically made natural soap. It was fantastic, because they had a lovely perfume in it, because she had used some essential oils. I think that's what you call them. And she grated she gave it to me. I grated the natural soap into this recipe, and so it just made the clothing have a lovely fragrance. But you can also just get your own essential oils and add some, however much is right for you. If you want a strong fragrance for your clothing, well, then put more in. So I can't tell you how many drops or anything like that, because it's just according to your own preference. So this is what we did. 15 liters of warm water. So you need a nice big bucket. Put some warm water in, and put the cup of borax and the cup of washing soda into 15 liters of warm water. And then while you're stirring, just after you finish stirring that together, you get 2 liters of hot boiling water, and you grate your bar of soap. When I say bar, I mean a sunlight bar. Now, I don't know how, I should actually have one to show you. I don't even know its weight. It's a long bar, about this long. It's about this deep, this wide. And this is a bar of sunlight soap that we buy here in South Africa. And we grate that whole bar, not one little piece, into this into this powder, into the water, the hot water, the boiling water. I'm having a look at my notes here. And then we stir that up, and we add the two together. So we've added the grated soap that has been dissolved in the 2 liters of hot water into the 15 liters of warm water that have got the borax and the washing soda in, and we leave it overnight. And of course, you can add your essential oils. The next day, we decant that into some pourri jugs, and we use a capful per load of washing. Is it a capful you use, Jamie? Jamie's been doing our laundry for us for a long time now. He's our laundry man now, as well as our baker boy. I can't call you baker boy anymore, you're a man now. But he makes our bread for us each day, and he does the laundry. So I'm very blessed, you see, because I have a son that does our laundry for us. And this is what we use, and we've used it for really quite a number of years now. So this petrol price and all these costs that are going up we haven't felt it so badly, because if you think, when we bought the borax and the washing soda, we had to buy it in bulk, so we're still using it from that time ago. And so there is a bit of adjustment, and sometimes there's more of an outlay, financial outlay, because you're buying kilograms of product, which seems expensive at the time. But then when you see how long it lasts you and how much it saves you in the long run, it's just really, really worth it. So that's my little economic tip for today. I hope it's going to help you. I hope you can maybe find the ingredients you need. I really, really don't know how I can help you to tell you how to source those ingredients. And now I'm going to go over here, because Jamie's sending me a note to say that he sent me the link to open up, so I can see if there's any questions from anybody out there. Thank you, Esther. I've just seen Esther's told us here that the sunlight bar is 250 grams. Thank you for that, because I don't even have one here to run and fetch and have a look. Oh, yay, Shirley. Shirley is there again. So happy. Shirley, I know Shirley. And she is out there in England, and she said she's made her own laundry liquid for years. Fantastic. See, this is what we can do, help one another. Okay, yeah, well, Esther, about that, I'm just reading the comments now, and that you're just saying that you found it hard, the joy part. I don't actually know that it's easy for anybody. I think that it's something we've got to exercise and practice and just make a decision. And just decide, okay, I feel like I don't have joy, I need to have joy, my children need to experience joy, and so then do what makes you smile. Think about what makes you smile. I know what makes me smile, and I know what lifts that burden and helps me to feel joyful. And so find those things, and then just go there when you know that you need to find joy. You're having hot coffee, I'm having hot tea, and now I'm seeing that she's saying hello from England. Change is something she struggles with. Sure, that is such a blessing. Shirley's just talking about change and how her daughters are now women, and what a blessing it is for her to see them being God-fearing women, and how much they've accomplished. What a blessing. Shirley, I think that is why we continue doing what we're doing all the time, and just encouraging moms not to give up and to push through and to walk through this journey. Even when they're going through the valley times, they must just continue on, because I just spoke to a mom yesterday that really wants to continue on this journey, but she was feeling as though she was feeling a bit straddled, one foot in the world and one foot in trying to follow the ways that she was feeling convicted in her heart. And she was kind of pulled towards the world's way because of what the systems of the world require and the demand of that on her. And she was feeling as a parent that she should be responsible for that, and she should be attending to that. Yet her heart was pulling her in the direction of continuing in the way God had been leading them up to that point. And they had experienced certain things in their life that had changed her perspective to help her to see the value of their family pulling together and walking this journey as they were, and not swaying off that particular path and onto the path of all the requirements. And she was really struggling with that, and I just encouraged her to stick on the path that God is calling her on, because of what you are saying here, Shirley, that to see what they've accomplished and to see your daughters being God-fearing women. And I'm excited you share that right now, because this mom has got two daughters, the one that I was speaking with yesterday. And here you are, Shirley, with your two daughters being two women, and they have grown up, and you've gone all the way through these home educating years with them, and you are blessed, Proverbs 31 lady. And this mom can also be blessed, but the mom of yesterday, because she was swayed across, and she was now trying to do everything the way everybody required her to do, the first thing that came was misery. She just was miserable, and her daughter was miserable, and things had become miserable. And you see, misery was like now getting them down. And yet, the moment you spoke to her about what is God saying, and you know in your heart really what you should be doing, then she was smiling, and such relief to think that actually it's okay that she follows that path. And it was very evident when she spoke about this. It was heaviness and weighing her down. And when she spoke about that, this being trying to accomplish everything everybody's requiring of her, and this on the other side being just have confidence, continue with what God's calling you to do. And then she had joy. It was like instantly there. So it was exciting to see that she already had everything she needed as far as God really directing her in that way. And so there are people out there, and there are parents that are saying that I don't necessarily have the conviction, or I'm torn. I don't know which one to do. I don't feel thoroughly convicted to follow this way or that way. I'm in the middle. I don't know what to do because I'm getting all this pressure from people that require all of this. And not just require, it's like a parent takes it seriously when people that they respect and honor are saying to them, but aren't you worried you're going to harm your child if you this and this? And aren't you worried that they're going to miss out on a variety of things? And so the parent is feeling in the sense of that they don't want to not hear that and not listen to, because there's truth in that possibly, but yet they're feeling this pull to continue in this journey that isn't according to what everybody's saying. And so it's really a struggle. And so what I say to them is that why don't you just follow the conviction of your heart, whereby you get the peace? Because when I saw that mom yesterday talking about this side, I saw the misery, the tears, the heaviness, the struggle. And when she spoke about following God's way, she just was, that there was joy, like instant. It was like two different people. So I just kept on saying to her, look at you. You got so much joy when you talk about doing it his way. And when you talk about doing it another way, the joy is just gone. It's not there anymore. And there's worry and there's concern. And oh, hang on. There's another comment here that I'm just going to look at quickly. It's Shirley. Shirley, thank you for that. I'm going to read what you said just for those after the fact that maybe don't see these comments. I don't think people see these comments that want to watch us live streaming afterwards. So there's Shirley there in England. And she says, I think the pull is natural, which is all the more reason to really trust God. Amen, I agree. I've seen that by doing that, even though it's been scary, God has been faithful. Troy is going to study illustration at uni, and Jess has a place at college studying travel and tourism without filling the requirements of this world. Thank you for sharing that, Shirley. Now, there is a testimony and an example of a mom who has followed God's path, the one that she really believed to follow the pull that was in her heart, even though she says that it was scary at times. Her two daughters are now women, and they are studying. One's at university doing study illustration. And the other one's doing tourism. Sure, that's exciting. So you see, you don't have to, the parents out there that are concerned about if you follow this conviction, you may be being concerned that, is it okay that I follow that conviction? Because I'm hearing everything other than that. In other words, you're not getting supportive words coming at your ears going, wow, you know, it's well done. What can we do to support you? And we think it's wonderful. In fact, you could be hearing the opposite, like, what are you doing? And why are you doing that? And do you think that's such a great idea? Because what about? And this mom yesterday was telling me about the whatabouts. And I said to her, well, why don't you thank those people for their concern? Because they're saying, oh, they're so worried about the decision you've made because they're concerned about this and this and this and the well-being of your children. So why don't you thank them and say thank you for your concern and ask them to pray for you if they're that concerned about your children's well-being, that they're going to be, you know, the usual. They're going to be well socialized, and what about their sport, and what about their certificates, and what about competitiveness, and what about all the things that people that are in a different mindset, different frame of mind, are thinking about all those things. And when they see their friend, their sister, their neighbor, their colleague, whatever, doing this other thing, that doesn't look like, it looks like it's not going to have all these elements in it. It looks like they're just missing. But the point is that none of those elements are missing because it's a family. And in a family, you've got all those same things. You're socializing with one another. When I saw my children learning to socialize, it wasn't necessarily with a group of children that were all 10. It was with varying ages, but it was still socialization. It just looked different. And then sport. People ask about, weren't you worried or aren't you concerned about them missing out on sport? Well, our son went and played golf with his father, or we went for walks or for hikes. We didn't do competitive sport, I agree. He didn't belong to a soccer club or a rugby club well, actually, he didn't belong to any of those things because, first of all, he wasn't interested, and secondly, he was brittle bones his whole life. So, a boy with brittle bones doesn't play rugby. But in spite of that, as a man now, is he less of or not got what he needed to have because he wasn't in the rugby team? I don't think so. I think anybody who meets him would have to agree that there's not some big lack in his life as a man because he didn't belong to a rugby team or a soccer team. Or you agree, hey Jamie? Agree with me. So you see, it's the things that the parents are, the people are saying, aren't you worried about this? These topics that I'm talking about, subjects, I don't know what to call them. Sport, social, all these things. The parent who's chosen something else is hearing these concerns from different sources. So I'm just encouraging parents to look at the fact that they're not just automatically missing those things because they've chosen to follow this leading that they've been pulled to, and their heart is convicted and they feel peace about it, they feel sure about it, they've really spent some time exploring and coming to a place of a decision that hasn't just been, well, which school should we put them in, this one or this one? I mean, that in itself is decisions parents are having to arrive at. But now they're doing something different to what is happening over here, and so they may be feeling like they're standing on their own, they're standing alone, and they're not sure if they are, oh, hang on, sorry, pause. What did you say, Jimmy? I must put something on? Yeah, but I don't even know where my, is it this? Sorry, I've got to put this phone's making noises. So I must stop it from making noises. There we go. I think that's it. So, so I'm just encouraging you, if you feel like you're standing alone, first of all, you're not, because thousands and thousands and thousands of families are teaching their children at home. It's not some rare, peculiar, odd thing. If you happen to be the only person in your neighborhood or in your community or something that is doing this different, well, there will be other people in your community that are also doing something else different, because not all the children at church or community or whatever it is, or all the cousins, all go to the same school. One goes to a private school, and one goes to the church school, and one goes to the government school and public school, they otherwise call it. So everybody's getting a different form and a different kind of education. And the education you've perhaps chosen is home education. And so it doesn't look like education that's in the church school or the public school. Those look different. But I suppose there's similarities about them in the fact that there's groups and there's classrooms and there's sports teams. And so those are the things that people are used to, and now your children aren't supposedly part of that, but then many home educators are. They join the country club, and the children are involved in that kind of sport if the child's interested in sport. When I say interested, some parents feel strongly that children must do sport because it's growing and building certain character traits. In our personal lives, our children weren't able to do sport because of chronic illness. And because of that, they didn't have it. And now, as adults, it's not appearing in any manner or form to be some serious lack in their life that they didn't have it. So that's what I can say. That's my own personal experience. Let me see if there's any other questions here. Oh, there's a question here about quality of education. What about the quality of education? You know, Mark, who is here at Oikos, he asked me some questions because he was getting questions from people, and one of them was, as a home educator, aren't you concerned about the quality of education your children are going to get? And I thought, well, now that's an interesting one, because actually one-on-one tuition, high standard of actual resources, because I don't think I've ever seen any home education resource that is of poor standard. I must admit, I haven't seen them all, but any one that I've ever laid my eyes on, I've never seen one that I've gone, oh my goodness, this is just horrendous. The actual material that's been used for teaching home education. I've never seen something that has appalled me or shocked me that the quality is not good. So, but I do admit that I have not seen every single different resource that's available for home educators. Maybe some people are using inferior quality because that's what they can. I don't know, or that's what they like. I don't know. But anyway, the thing is that it's one-on-one tuition, and generally the quality of the books that you're using is of an incredibly good standard. So I don't think there's a concern about the quality of education. However, there was a bit of a different slant to that question when it was being asked, and as in, you've got specialist people teaching your children in the school. You've got somebody who's specialized in chemistry and someone who's specialized in as music teacher and so on and so forth. And so you as a mom can't be specialist in all these different fields. Quite true. I certainly didn't feel specialized in being able to teach our son audio engineering or whatever it is that he had to put himself through his own courses to learn to be able to do all the media for Oikos. And so, sorry, a little bit of a distraction there, but coming back to that, so you see, yes, I was not able to give every area of quality standard education that I myself wasn't equipped in, but the thing is, it's quite incredible, this technology. First of all, I can sit and talk to Shirley in England over there, and here I am in South Africa. Shirley's a South African that lives in England. She reminded me that the last time. The thing is that we can't, I want to actually be able to stop here and just say to you that obviously we're not going to have everything there is that we need on every skill level to be able to teach the different children that God entrusts to our care. But I never really concerned myself with my lack, because what I concerned myself with was the fact that God asked me to love them and to nurture them and to raise them up in the way they should go so that they won't depart from it. And what is that? And now I have to go to His Word, and I have to seek Him on what does He mean when He says in the way they should go. What does that mean? And then you go to Proverbs, and it says when you teach them this way, this is how they will be blessed. But if they go that way, this is what will happen. And so now I've got the whole book of Proverbs to teach them in the way that they should go. So that is what was my concern. My concern wasn't whether I knew graphics or how to teach Missy, our daughter, how to get her equipped and skilled in graphics and illustration and everything else, because I didn't have those skills myself. But we've got this wonderful gift of technology and the digital world and Google and everything else, and she's put herself through graphic courses. But what was important was that I was there to encourage her, to help her to persevere when maybe things were getting a bit difficult, to help her to remember she's constantly needing to represent the Lord in everything she does, and guide her the way she must go. He wants her to go so she won't depart from it, and so that she'll be blessed. To me, that's what was important. But alongside that, God just brought in quality and excellence. I mean, I'm so impressed with Him, of the excellent quality of resources He's brought into Oikos. I never went hunting for gold award and the best excellence and the best maths curriculum that you can get. I didn't go seeking for that. God brought it to us, and we share it with you through Oikos. And after the fact, we hear about all these incredible awards and how excellent this curriculum is, whether it be the maths one or the science one, whichever. I'm just so impressed that God has brought the best and that we have been blessed by that. So that was a very long answer to what about the quality of education in home education. But I did go into it more as well on that Oikos chat. Jamie, is the Oikos chat on the store? I think you put it up, the interview with Mark. It is under videos. If Jamie's will look for the Oikos chat that I talk about this factor of all the different teachers and the specialized teachers at the school, and what if you're not offering that to your children, and are you giving them the best because you're not giving them that? And so we spoke about that on the Oikos chat interview, which is on the website. So you might want to go and watch that for the people that were inquiring, or people out there that might be concerned about that aspect. Okay. Another question from somebody who is asking about if they are feeling like this is something they want to do. They're feeling led and pulled and called in this direction of perhaps their children are still in school and they're feeling like they need to pull them out and start home educating. And maybe it's all unknown. What to do, where to go, how to start. Well, I've got good news for those parents, and that is we did a course for you. And it's on the Oikos website. And if you go to videos on the Oikos website and go to courses and then to start it, and there's a course on start it. I think there's 3 or 4 clips there, maybe more. And it's just taking you step by step. How do you assess your children so that you know which resource to get them? Because in school they might be coming out of grade 8, but you don't actually know where their level of maths understanding is. So then you can do the maths assessment. So we hope that the started course that we did there, that's on the website for you, is going to help you a whole lot more than what I can help you right now on this live streaming. I hope that you can go, okay, excuse my own interruption here, but I'm clicking on things that are bouncing all over the place. Hello, Mandy. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. Just seen a Mandy pop on there. So, and Esther's comment is wonderful too. We always have to remember that God gave us our children and He knew what we would be able to do, what we can afford and what our children will face. Exactly. That is trusting Him and believing that it is good. It is all good. Good, good, good. God is good all the time. He doesn't stop being good. He doesn't have bad days and good days. They're just all good days. So I think it's just such a gift that we can have that, and that we can have all good days as well. Even in the face of adversity, we can have a good day because He said, consider it pure joy, and so we can. And so then when we do, we can have a good day with Him, and He can help us and strengthen us, and all those wonderful gifts that flow after being obedient come to us, and He just blesses us. He wants to bless all of us. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave you on that fantastically good note, and that is God is good all the time. And I'm going to hope to see you again. I'm actually hoping to do more live streaming so that we can start having one live stream that's particularly about practicals or resources or help that we can give you in your day-to-day journey of the practicals, and then another live streaming that can be more on encouragement and support and spiritual support and help in that. And then, I don't know, we'll see. But we're trying to grow it so that we can be more supportive. And on that, you know what I've noticed? I've noticed that there's more, I'm dealing with more questions during the week than actually on the live streaming. So when I was reading out these questions here, they weren't the questions that actually came here now at this moment on live streaming. They're questions that have been coming through the week. And then I collect them, and then when we do live streaming, I can talk to you about them, because it's the sort of questions that are coming up. So I'm answering them in the hopes that once, after we've done our live streaming, after the fact, people can see that the live streaming video is on the homepage, and they can go to those questions that came up and the answers that I hope have been helpful. But in the meantime, ladies that have been there and that have joined me, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you spending this tea time with me. And I hope you can be there next Friday. We're going to try and make it 3. We're aiming for 3 each day. Not each day, not 3 each day, 3 each Friday. 3 o'clock on Friday, South African time. That's what we hope to be able to commit to. We never know what our day is going to be, but that is what we're trying to aim for. So for those who could be with me today, thank you again. Thank you. And I hope you have an absolutely wonderful weekend. And if you've got any questions that come to mind during the week, you remember that you can go on to the Ask a Question on the homepage and just put the question there, any question. Surely you might have questions that you hear from other people. You can ask on their behalf, because you know that we would love to be here to encourage those moms that are walking through the journey. You are a blessed woman, because now your children, your girls are women. And so you've walked through the journey. So you might have some things to encourage others with, like you've done today. And you might hear of questions that come up that you can pop on the homepage there where it says Ask a Question anonymously. And then I'll collect that and then I'll answer them at either a straight Q&A or at tea time next Friday. Thank you, ladies. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you for being there. Thanks, Shirley. She just said she'll do that. Thank you. Thank you, Shirley. Lovely to be there with you today. All of you. Better say goodbye now, because I've said goodbye 3 times. Okay. Bye.